The biggest problem in 2025 is that we have a mafia that doesn't care about this country running the country. That's the biggest problem. I'm sorry, you're not Christian and you're not of European descent. I'm sorry. You had a sneaky guy like this who'd be willing to do the job.
You're listening to the baddest show on the planet. Get your money right, get your game right, and everything in between. This is the Bad Hombre Podcast.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Your channel's going up. I'm the one who's been kicked out of the club. I'm the the black sheep. But the thing is that I've noticed you have a lot of self-control, bro. I don't. Once I start ripping and ranting, just N-word, F-A-G word. And look, I love all these groups. I have nothing against these groups. I don't harass people. I don't bully people, anything like that. It's just funny.
It's how you grew up.
It's funny.
How you grew up too. Bro, I live in the hood and I live with Jamaican. I moved out of my house when I was 16, and I live in with Jamaicans. So we're upstairs. We're drug dealers, and bro, it was N-word this, N-word that, Batty boy, blood clot, this and that, and I picked up on that, Big
yeah, and it's not even like you're being hateful. It's just the way of. It's just like a word in your vocabulary. You just say it. It's like the R word, RETARD. That word, an actual person who has, an actual person with disabilities, you don't call them that. No. But your friend who's being an idiot, you call him, the R word.
Yeah, we say that. I think I've dropped it in 3 or 4 videos, to be honest, already. It's hard, bro. It's hard. But let me ask you this, Latino, right? Because we're very similar skin tone, right? Do we get an N-word pass? I say it around my friends. Most of my 70% of my friends are black, and I say it. But
yeah, I usually don't try to say that word, not because I hang out with people that are going to get offended or anything like that. It's just that I am a white Hispanic, and I've been really trying to get away from speaking ghetto or being seen as that way. But with my close pals, I'll say it all the time. I'll say it like one word after the other. Yeah. But I really try to stay away from saying that word, just because other people, you don't know how other people feel about it. So I personally, but with close friends, I say I'll drop it. I don't care.
Yeah. In the group chats, we drop it. But I try. Most of the stuff I do is business related anyway, and I try. I don't usually use it. I don't, because it's ghetto. It's saying it sometimes is ghetto, bro. It's. I guess I just realized that now. Yeah, bro. It's not really. You don't drop it often, but
yeah. So I acquired a following in 2016, and that was because I made a video criticizing LeBron James. So LeBron James, he made some post. This was almost 10 years ago. He made some post about I don't know, racism, white people, this, that, something like that. Yeah. So I had a fitness Instagram. I'd post myself benching and squatting and stuff like that. This was around the time with Rich Piana, the Rich Piana era. So I was like, oh man, that guy's my hero, right? So I'm man, Rich Piana, he's so cool, man. I want to do what he does. And I had a really small following, maybe 2,000 followers, making fitness content. And one day I made a video criticizing LeBron James. I don't know how the algorithm picked that video up, but that video blew up. I got 10,000 followers. A lot of people came in, and I was like, whoa. I could probably change my my content around. And that's why I have the name Gym Status, because that's the original page was a fitness page.
Yeah.
But the fitness stuff wasn't really taking off. I'm in good shape. My genetics aren't horrible, but they aren't elite either. My body mostly wants to be slim fit, but I'll never be like a Ronnie Coleman or anything like that. So fitness stuff wasn't really taking off. I make this LeBron James criticizing LeBron James video, get like a whole bunch of followers overnight. And then I'm like, oh, wow, maybe there's something here to make political content. So I was making political content, doing political content, and grew a decent following. So then I was like, you know what? So 2 years later, 2018, I started my podcast. And in the podcast, I was like, I gotta really give my thoughts, but it has to be entertaining. It can't be, because at the time in 2018, 2016, 2018, conservative right-wing content, Daily Wire, Breitbart, what is this, Blaze TV, they had a stranglehold on this type of content. And all those guys were dorks, and they weren't edgy. And it was, Ben Shapiro, how he is. So, guys, today we're going to talk about, and it was just like the right wing, we need more heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Right. So I started watching like Gavin McInnes, trying to, yeah, I met Gavin actually.
Milo Yiannopoulos. It was like gay. It was FAGs and fucking what do you call it? And dorks like Ben Shapiro. Gavin
was cool.
What do you call it? Front lawn? The front lawn. Get out of my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. Well, he did the Proud Boys. He founded, I think he founded the Proud Boys. So you met him?
I actually went out to dinner with the Proud Boys back in 2019.
Damn. Isn't that Cuban guy, isn't he in jail or something?
I'm not sure too much about him, but there was a Tommy Robinson protest in New York, Free Tommy Robinson. This was the Tommy Robinson era. And Gavin McInnes spoke there. I went over there to show support. I met Gypsy Crusader there. I don't know if you know Gypsy.
Bro, you're like the Dominican Gypsy, bro. What do you mean? That's you. You even kind of look like the guy, to be honest.
So I met Gypsy Crusader at where Gavin McInnes spoke. Met Gavin. Gavin, I love the guy. He won't go fully there. Right. He'll talk about damn near anything, but he won't really criticize the 6-point star country in the Middle East. We'll say that.
The chosen ones?
The 6-point star. So Gavin won't go there. But so I started my podcast. I wanted to incorporate something like Gavin McInnes style mixed with my own style, mixed with like a Slim Shady kind of character. Right. Because that's my hero, Slim Shady. 1999 to 2004, untouchable.
Right.
No one can tell me anything negative about 99 to 2004 Eminem. Now, if you want to criticize his later stuff, whatever. Right. So started the podcast, like took a little bit of Slim Shady, a little bit of Gavin. And then I've been MGTOW since I was about like 24. So it was a podcast about dating and women and stuff like this, mixed with far right. Okay, not right wing, far right. Okay, I'm far right. Far right politics. And I had a pretty good run. From 2018 to 2022. Mid 2022. And then, man, the hammer just went down on me. And after that happened, it was really hard, like regaining the followers, telling people, hey guys, come follow me on this website, come follow me on BitChute, come follow me on Telegram. If you have a channel, you have 100,000 followers, let's say, dude, I'm gonna be honest, 15,000 of them will follow you anywhere.
Yeah.
The majority of them are not gonna, so I'm on Telegram. I do BitChute, do this, do that, and I'm posting, and only a fraction of my followers followed me. I had 40,000 40,000 followers on the podcast, which is not great, but it's not horrible either.
No, it's a good community anyway. Like it's
Yeah. So
I think a lot of it has to do with the platform too, right? Because I could, I could have my favorite creator, and he's like, come over at TikTok, because I'm like, I don't really do TikTok, bro. And as much as I like to go on X, I'm not really. I don't picture myself watching a podcast on X. But I'm kind of getting into it, But you should go on X. No, I think now it's
no, I am on X.
Yeah.
Yeah, I post on X all the time. Right now, the talk of the town on X is yay, Kanye West.
Yeah.
Yeah, so oh yeah, I love him.
Well, he's my hero, dog. He's my hero. You know how you say you
I
like
love that
Eminem?
guy. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's my hero, dog.
So someone who is globally famous, top percentile money wise, that I believe that you can trust, Kanye West. Trump has good and bad. Elon has good and bad. But yay, I trust him. And political people, in the political sphere, who do I personally trust? Nicholas J. Fuentes. Nicholas J. Fuentes, Kanye West, and there's a lot of great channels, a lot of small channels that have really good content, truthful content, speaking the truth. But as far as yeah, but this is the problem with Candace Owens. So Candace keeps talking about like flat earth and magical stuff and demons and stuff like that. Once you get into this territory of this esoteric mysticism, stuff like that, that's why people who criticize JEWS, people like us who criticize, well, not like you, like me. People like me,
everybody, bro.
People like me who criticize JEWS. This is why we get a bad rap, because they start going into magical stuff and this and that. Like, we need to stay away from talking about underground aliens that are taking over the world and they're demonic spirits, and we need to stay away from all that. We need to hit facts. Just stay on the facts and stay on things that you can prove. All right, so Candace is doing a great job, don't get me wrong. I respect that she stood up to that little weasel, Shapiro. I respect that she stood up to him.
They all leaving him, bro. Like, she left him. Who else left him?
The other girl.
Yes, the comment section. What the fuck's her name? Well, she, you know what I'm talking about? The white girl.
Yeah.
She left her. I like some of her shit, but it's girl content. I'm not really crazy about it. You know what I mean? But she's very talented, so good for her. I think Peterson is parting ways with the Daily Wire. I think that's what I heard. So yeah,
and so that's the talk right now on X, is that that the Daily Wire is going down. A lot of people aren't trusting it. They're losing a lot of money. They're in some legal battle with Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
And, Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh, they know more than they give off. Like Matt Walsh in 2012, he was writing articles criticizing the Israel lobby. And then 4 years later, 2017, he's working for Shapiro. So he knows more than he lets on. Today, all these content creators still talking about genders, still talking about, oh, they made Spider-Man black. This doesn't matter. Okay. That they're still talking about this type of stuff
Yeah.
in 2025. The biggest problem in 2025 is that we have a mafia that doesn't care about this country running the country. That's the biggest problem.
Elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean? We have a mafia that doesn't care.
Yeah. So, for example, Trump. Now, in 2016, Trump was self-funded. Okay, he funded himself and plus small money donations. That was the majority of his campaign contributions, himself and fans. That was 2016. In 2016, Trump was talking about, drain the swamp. We got to get out of the Middle East. They're ripping us off on deals. Come 2020, all right. We won't get into all that stuff, if they stole it or not, whatever. He lost. But he had a lot of donations from big name JEWs. The Adelsons came in and dropped a big bag on him. Now in 2025, there's even more. All right. There's Alex Karp, there's Peter Thiel, there's Jacob Hellberg, there's Miriam Adelson. There's Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, who's right behind him all the time, watching everything he does. Kushner is there all the time. So, as much as he himself, let's say Trump, wants to do a good job, let's say deep down in his heart, he wants to do the right thing. He's surrounded by people who won't let him do the right thing. He's surrounded by people that are going to block any little thing he tries to do outside of what they want. They're going to block it. So this is why we need to bring light and bring attention to this mafia, which I just named like 7, but it's a big club and we're not in it. Okay.
That's wild, that because they run the left, and now they're kind of like getting their claws on the right.
Yeah, so they run the left, and that's to poison the well. They run the left to poison the culture, but they run the right. They run the right as their attack dogs. Okay, the right is the attack dogs to go obliterate the Middle East, and so that the 6-point star country can expand territory. That's what the right is for. The right is for war. Okay, so that they run the right wing for war, and then they run the left wing for culture, for poisoning your family, for making your son GAY, for making your daughter an HOE, for making your neighbor, some big 600-pound guy, for that's what they run the left for, poisoning the culture.
Let's talk about that one a little further. Like that part, I could see how they have their hands on a lot of those things, because you look at everything always circles back to everything circles back to an organization. The organization has a founder. You Google the founder, you Google his ethnicity, and you're like, oh, there you go. There seems to be a common denominator, right? BLM, this and that, everything that, whatever, right? What is their hope to gain by poisoning the community, by making, 6 million genders and this and that, and mixing races together and sexualizing black people and just putting just all of this, like, you know, white girl, black man. It's never black. It's never like black girl, white man. It's always like, why are they doing all of these things? Like, what's their hope to gain? Where are they
Yeah,
going with this?
that's called the Kalergi plan,
Mm,
the mixing of the races. But basically, it's to destroy the family. We've heard this a million times, but the reason is why destroy the family. Why? Well, so that there's no unity. We don't feel akin to our neighbor. If you don't feel familiar to your neighbors, you won't see them as family. If you don't see them as family, everybody's doing their own thing. If everybody's doing their own thing, everyone's divided. If you're all divided, it's easier to just pick all you guys' pockets. But if you guys are united, it's harder to do that.
so it's all money. The reason it's just money, greed.
No, and there is
Like, what do they get out of it? Like, it's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, what do they get out of doing all these things?
well, there is religious animosity. There is a lot of religious animosity in what they're doing.
Mm,
For 2,000 years, the Europeans were basically playing ping pong with them.
mm,
So they would go to a European country. They'd live there for maybe 80 to 120 years. Eventually, over time, they would start doing money scams, doing weird stuff. And the host population, because they were so unified, would in unison kick them out. All right. So, and it would just happen over and over and over again. It happened in 109 countries. Okay. That they were booted out of. Why did these countries boot them out? These countries booted them out because those countries were united,
mm.
right? And that's what they're doing. The people inside the country were united, and that's what they're doing here is making sure no one is united. That's why they love diversity. That's why they have all these NGOs promoting, you know, a million people from all over the world living in the same area because they can blend in with a diverse group. But all throughout Europe, they would, let's say, go to Spain, go to Italy, go to England, Germany. They would go to these places and they would stick out like a sore thumb. You would see them like, you guys are different. Like, you know what I mean? And then over time, like, wait, you guys are different and you're doing weird stuff. Okay. And then that's what they would get booted out and
Weird stuff.
Yeah, so like coin clipping, CHILD, sacrifice, weird stuff. Weird stuff like this. They would go to a country, settle down, and eventually get booted. All right, so there is the racial animosity with the Europeans. Now you have the Catholics. All right. So the Catholics also subjugated them because they have this book. It's called the Talmud. Now, the Talmud has all this satanic stuff inside of it. And the Catholics actually made them build the Colosseum. All right. The JEWISH slaves built the Colosseum, and the Catholics made sure to keep them subjugated because they deny, like, how can I have you living in my backyard and you say that my God is fake, he's a piece of crap, he's whatever. So the Catholics, in order to not kill them but have them in a lower position, would basically oppress them. Okay. Not let them move up ranks or anything like that. And throughout history in Europe, a lot of these people, they were tax collectors. That's what they did. Because a lot of people didn't want that job. They didn't want to be the job of tax collectors. So, that you had a sneaky guy like this who'd be willing to do the job.
Yeah.
And look, I
You know
don't
what
fault
else they did? You know what else they did as well that I learned. I heard Kanye saying this too. It's they would divorce married couples because Catholic lawyers wouldn't do that. So they started doing all this stuff that Catholics wouldn't do, like divorce. Divorce is a J whatever WS business. To be honest, it's a very
Yeah.
profitable business. Actually, lawyer that law like lawsuits and stuff. You fail at a park. You know the reason why there's not that many parks in New York and obesity is going up in children and all that is because there's not a lot of playgrounds because this they will sit there, they would wait for a kid to fall. Like you heard, let's sue the New York City for millions of dollars for it. It kept happening over and over and over again.
Yeah,
And
that's what they're known for. They're known for pulling off scams.
right.
They like to tell you that that the reason why they are in high up positions is because they got a IQ and this and that and
I used to think that
they
growing up
help each other out. That is true. They do help each other out. It is true that they are smart, but it is also true that they pull off scams.
right.
They pull off a lot of scams. With the scams that they pull off, they're able to acquire money. With the money that they acquire, they're able to buy off politicians. By buying off the politicians, they're able to acquire favors. When
And
they
change the
acquire
narrative.
favors, they make favors for themselves alone.
Right.
So this is why it's a problem. Can we live in unison, with diversity? I think not. I think what you need is you need a majority population. So let's just say 75% of the country is European descent. Then you can have a 25% that's different, different people. I think that can work out. You have minorities, but a country where you got 10% white, 10% black, 10% Asian, 10% Arabic, 10% Hispanic, 10%. That's not going to work, man. That is not going to work. You're going to have people because naturally people are going to start pushing a little bit, to get pushing for a little bit of, more territory, more power, more property, more whatever.
Right.
So I think that this is a failed experiment, this diversity stuff. That does not mean that I agree with bullying or hurting or, treating somebody bad. The thing is, like, for example, in America, the original immigration plan is called the 1790 Naturalization Act. It means that only people of European descent can be citizens. Then in the 60s, they changed it to, well, anybody from anywhere in the world can be a citizen. And I think that by and large, this has been a failure
100%.
because the people at the top, the people that we're talking about, they have a bone to pick with Europeans. They really want to see the European race diminish.
Mm,
And yeah, they have a bone to pick with Europeans. Europeans, they're living their life all happy dandy, but these people, JEWISH, they know the history and they have, they have a lot of animosity towards Europeans for what Europeans have done to them.
mhm.
Now, did Europeans have a reason to do it? Did Europeans see that, well, you have weird behaviors, you deny our God, you say that Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, is a piece of crap. That's why we treated you that way. Is it valid? I don't know. I'm not the arbiter of, everything that is good and holy. However, Europeans, they seem to be going about their lives like, hey, I'm white, you're Indian, he's black, we could all just live along. But the JEWISH, they don't see the world like this. They for 2000, they know the history. They know that for 2,000 years, Europeans, Catholics, Christians basically treated them like, treated them bad, treated them like second-class citizens, and were deporting them all over Europe. the last guy to do it was A.H. He was the last one to to deport them out of his country.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that he was deleting them. That's questionable if he was actually deleting them, because right around that time when that thing was happening, the event, Israel all of a sudden got a big, huge spike in population. So, how is it that they're getting deleted, but they're also growing somewhere else? So a lot of weird stuff, but they have a lot of animosity towards Europeans for all the deportations. And
If you were born as one of them, do you think you would have that perspective, or you would look at them as, this is what they've been doing to my bloodline? Because when you're born, like, look at Soros's kid, right? I guess he's been from little just being trained, brainwashed. He's gonna keep carrying that torch forever, right? And he's gonna keep his children. But then I look at him from their perspective and their reality, and it's like, God damn. I don't know.
But the thing with them is, have they been wronged, many times? Possibly.
Yeah.
All right. But the thing with them is that they don't really have a home. Okay. What they like to do is they like to go to your home and have you do all the work and milk you for everything you have. And then once my pockets are loaded, I say, hey, Chris, it was nice. It was nice using you for all your stuff. Time to move on to the next place where I could do the same. So let's just say you punch me in the face for doing that. And then I say, hey, man, you're being anti, that word that they like to say.
Right.
I
see what you're saying. I think also, like, it seems like they're very cold. They disregard to the value of human life and other types of life. And I think that comes from a supremacy, like JW supremacy, believe the chosen people, this and that. So most people like you and I, we don't set out to like scam or rob or like do these things, but like for some reason, like moral compasses are not instinctively like the same level in other people. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so they have legal loopholes in their religion where you can't steal, you can't scam, they have had their religious figures for over I believe for over like 400 years, write this like all these legalistic loopholes where you can get around the law of God, can basically trick God. So what they did was they would say, well, how about the people who were not chosen are not human? Then you wouldn't be committing a sin, because there's nothing that says that you can't scam an animal, right? So so the thing with the whole chosen thing is, it is true that they are chosen, but what it is that their bloodline was chosen to be, the bloodline that's going to bring the savior into the world. It's not that they were chosen to rule us all. It's just like, I choose this bloodline. Like, let's just say, so you got Anglo-Saxons, you have Nordics, you have Mediterraneans, you have Middle Easterns, you have Indians, so let's just say, in the book, God said, I choose, the Caribbean bloodline to where the savior is going to be born through there, the Caribbean, bloodline, whatever. And now you have like Caribbean people thinking that they're, hot shit, It's just that he chose that bloodline to bring, the savior. And then people say, a lot of stuff that they're not the original, the people today are not the original ones, because the people of today obviously don't belong in the desert, because they're they're dude. If I went to the desert, you know what happened to me, bro? I get freaking skin cancer.
Right.
So there's a lot of that stuff.
Okay, I see what you mean.
There's a lot of that stuff going on. So they're saying that that they're not the original JEWs that were chosen to bring the savior into the world, because the majority of them are from Russia, Poland. You know, they're not Arabic. They're not Arabic looking. They're not brown skin.
That's why a lot of people mistake them for whites. That's why a lot of people they blame the white. They do a lot of this shit, and a lot of people, especially blacks, they blame the white men for things that type of people are doing. And I caught on to that a while back. I was like, oh man, like we're blaming white people for a lot of shit that they're not, and it's these other people because
Yeah, they're basically like a mixture. So, like for example, I'd be about 85% European and like 15% native Indian from the island. You know, I'd be like around there. They are they are technically European. The JEWs are technically European, but they have this mix from like Turkey, the Middle East, where it makes them different from Anglo-Saxons in a way. It makes them different from people with Mediterranean background. It makes them different from Nordics. And then also within their tribe, they don't really believe in stepping outside. So imagine doing that for hundreds and hundreds of years, just keeping it like this. This is why they have the trope of the big nose and the low ears, and they have that look. You can sort of tell the difference. The only thing that they have the same as whites is the color, but their features though are very different. Once you're able to tell, like for example, most people can tell, okay, that's a Hispanic guy who's white skinned, and then that's over there, that's a white guy, an actual white guy. Once people are able to tell, you'll be able to see, oh, okay, wow, I could see it now. I could see the difference.
Yeah, you can see Ben Shapiro, you can see Zuckerberg, you can see Sam Altman. You're like, there's some similarities in facial features that I'm able to tell now.
Yeah, and we got to be real careful with one thing that's also going back to what we were saying earlier about what's trending on Twitter. One thing that people need to really get away from is debating values. Okay, we're still doing this where we're debating values. Well, we are the side of low taxes, and we are the side of patriotism, and you guys are the side of free love, and you guys are the. We need to get away from debating values and start looking more at interests. What is this person's interests? What is this person like? So, for example, let's talk about a guy like Ben Shapiro. How is it that why would I have a problem with a guy like Ben Shapiro? He's basically like 95% of what I agree with. Get married, have a wife. You can't get divorced. You gotta be smart. You gotta be accomplished. You gotta, be successful. He don't support, the LG thing, Shapiro is all of that. Low taxes, strong military. Men need to be masculine, women need to be feminine. So then it's like, okay, you guys are on the same team, right? Oh no, what are the interests though? Okay, so his interest is have a strong America so that you can use it as an attack dog. Even though I agree with Shapiro on, let's just say 95% of things, my whole thing is have a strong America for the sake of continuing what is America. And what is America? It's made by its people. Who are its people? You know, European whites. That doesn't mean that we can't have people from other places, you know, but how can you go into a country and not respect, you know, the people that built it?
Yeah.
All right. So I want a strong America for the sake of preserving what is America. Shapiro wants a strong America for the sake of using it as an attack dog, right? So, and then like, let's just say Vivek Ramaswamy. Him and I agree on 95% of things. Anti-LGBTQ, this and that, low
I like the guy,
taxes.
so I'm curious to hear what you're going to say, because I'm not so invested on this as you are. So all I see him is the sound bites and him on podcasts, and I think this is a sharp guy. I definitely think he could be the first brown president. I think he's up there in IQ points, very successful.
Yeah,
But I haven't looked that deep. So tell me.
Yeah, so check this out. So what would a guy like Vivek Ramaswamy, once again, people love to talk about values. What are your values? Oh, my values is I'm pro family. Oh, Vivek Ramaswamy's pro family. Oh, my value is I'm anti, you know, abortion. Oh, Vivek Ramaswamy too. My values are I'm about strong borders. Oh, Vivek Ramaswamy too. What's the problem? Okay. So I see America as I want to preserve the original America, what made it strong, what made it the way it is. Okay. That does not mean, once again, I got to always say this. That doesn't mean that I don't agree that we can have people from other, you know, races and cultures here. Shapiro wants a strong America to use America as an attack dog. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy, he sees America as an economic zone. He sees America as like a big, huge Walmart, right? This is just a big, huge Walmart. Let's bring in H-1Bs, and as long as you're smart and as long as you're a hard worker, come on in and work for us. You know how to, you know, it's like this is a big, huge Walmart for Vivek Ramaswamy. So, you know, this is where we need to start looking at what are your interests instead of what are your values.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now let's look at Elon Musk. Same thing. Elon Musk, what is it that I have a problem with Elon Musk? You know, he's a smart guy, this, that, family values, yada, yada, yada. You know, be rich, be smart, this, okay. What's the problem? Oh, what are his interests? Elon Musk wants to be the real life Tony Stark.
Yeah.
That's what Elon Musk wants to do. So it's like, if we look at his values are strong borders, the patriotism, family. Those are anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, What's the problem? Okay, now with Elon Musk, his interests are he wants to be the modern day Tony Stark. So now he's making deals in Argentina with Malay for the lithium. The lithium is going to be used, you know, for batteries, for all the tech stuff. But lithium is also used as a coolant for nuclear power, right? So he's making all these deals with Malay for the lithium,
Yeah,
because he needs the coolant for the nuclear power. Plus, he put a lot of money behind Trump. Why? He needs deregulation. He needs to deregulate energy because he needs nuclear power. So he basically needs the permission from Trump by deregulating. Like, hey man, you know, let me do my thing. You know, I gave you money. He needs the permissions from Trump to do the nuclear power. Then he needs the lithium from Malay. Now this is the bad part. He needs labor. Where is he going to get that labor from? India and China, right? So Elon Musk wants to bring in, 100,000, 200,000, people that, I'm sorry, are there beautiful, wonderful people in the world? Yes. Are there beautiful, wonderful cultures in the world? Yes. Can you be from China, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, the Middle East, anywhere, and be a great person, hardworking person? Yes, you can. I love that. I respect you. I think your life matters. I think you're a valuable person. But I'm sorry, you are not Catholic, you are not Christian, and you are not of European descent. I'm sorry. We can't have that. We can't have 100,000 people from, another country, even if they're all amazing, even if they're all great, even if they're all,
Right.
you
Yeah. Because
know,
I
I'm
believe.
sorry, you're not Christian and you're
Yeah.
not of European descent. I'm sorry.
Well, I do believe that Western values are Catholic. Western values are Catholic values or Christian values, right? America is a Catholic country, Christian country, and so is Canada, in my belief. But people are like, oh, that changed just in the last 10 years, but it's always been, very Christian, very Catholic. Why wouldn't Elon take labor from Peru or Bolivia or like these other countries? It's just as cheap. I mean, from a standpoint of like, why would you have to go overseas to get people when you can just get them down south? They have the same religion, they have the same beliefs, um, similar time zones. What wouldn't just do that?
Yeah, so it could possibly be an IQ thing. There's a
That's
lot
true.
of those. Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of those geniuses. And once again, are they smart? Does their life does their life matter as a human being? Yes, it does. But I'm sorry, we can't do that. A country is a nation. What makes a nation? What makes a nation is that you are, connected to your people. How is it that you go outside and you don't feel like
Hmm.
you don't feel like familiar with your own neighbors, with
Yeah.
people at your gym, with people, we're all different. Um, And the fact that we are different, we think different. Because we think different, we act different. Because we act different, there's different things that we find funny. So if we're different, we don't find the same things funny. We don't like the same music. We don't. So then now we just have a whole bunch of strangers living with each other. So there's no unity. When there's no unity, then you have.
Yo, you got that impression. I can just picture it, bro. That's hilarious. Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a lot of stuff. And look, um, my take on MGTOW, I've been really struggling with this. I've been really struggling with these beliefs. I understand female nature to a T. You know, um, but is it beneficial? You know, yes, I know the divorce courts are messed up. I know they all got high body counts. I know they all want to have fun when they're young, settle down when they're older. I know all this. They love bad boys. They're on sugar daddy apps. They're doing the whole nine. Okay, we know this. However, is it beneficial? I'm 31 years old. Is it beneficial for me to, not have kids? I don't know. And is it beneficial
Huh.
to push the message? Is it beneficial to push the message, towards white men specifically? No, don't reproduce. Right. While minorities are just reproducing like rabbits, they don't care. I don't know.
I
I don't. I don't know if
maybe
it's the right message.
right.
I love MGTOW. I've been MGTOW for 7 years now.
Do they not have kids when you're going your own way? Is there not kids in that lifestyle?
Well, when you go your own way, it's basically no cohabitation,
Mhm.
no marriage, no kids,
Mm.
and no simping. But you can have a girlfriend, take her out, have a nice time, buy her a gift, but it stays there. Basically stays there. Once it's gonna go to the next level of cohabitation and kids and stuff like that, you basically gotta find your way out, get the hell out. Because of the divorce courts and the feminism and all that stuff, and
Right.
because of that, if you still want to mingle with them, you could be charming, you could be a gentleman. There's no need to be a douchebag. But no cohabitation, no marriage, no kids, no simping, and it needs to be your own choice. It needs to be your own choice deciding to do that. Because if it's not your own choice,
And you're an
that
incel.
would be that would be
Involuntary.
incel.
Involuntary. Yep.
Yeah, which I love my involuntary brothers. I never ragged on them ever. I never ever made content like you're a loser, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Never. I love
Well,
my involuntary brothers too.
I love them too. The ones that respect themselves, though, because the ones that
Mm,
don't respect themselves, they don't deserve respect because they're they're simping, right? And they're buying things and they're spending a lot of money just to go on a date, just to see meet and greet. Just they'll pay. Like I used to know somebody that I was in business with, and she would laugh and show me this guy's paying me $300 to take me out for lunch. So those are the ones that I don't respect because they don't have self respect. So
yeah, but look, I get it. It's hard. Like, for
it's
example,
hard.
you know, um, my whole life, I've always gotten choosing signals. I've always gotten choosing signals. Even the girl that I'm seeing now, she made it 100% clear. I like you. I find you attractive. What's up? Like,
Yeah,
and sometimes being on this side, it's easy to say, "Oh man, you're pathetic. You're a loser." But like, dude, can you imagine your whole life like a girl never wanted to
yeah,
kiss you, never wanted to be around you?
that's true.
Like, for example, a lot of times these pickup artists and these coaches or whatever, they say, "Oh, you got to be, you got to spit game, this and that." Spitting game is you can't be too corny and be too much of a goofball. However, spitting game is just like she finds you attractive and anything you say is funny.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the difference between a compliment and an SA or SH is how good you look.
Dude, a girl who's like 100% attracted to me, she wants to. I could literally say, um what are you doing? Oh, here, having a seltzer, on the phone with my boy. It's
Yeah,
like, bitch, I didn't even say nothing. I didn't even crack a
yeah.
joke.
You know what, bro? You did make me think about the. It's like they don't know what they don't know, right? So for them, maybe a dinner is such a big step, so they're willing to pay for it. Where for me, it's like we're so desensitized that we're get it in the first date. So like, what's dinner? You know what I mean? I was before I texted you. I was at the grocery store like earlier today, like an hour and a half ago, right? And I realized one thing, bro. All the cashiers, they're all men. They're all 17, no, sorry, 18, 19, 20-year-old boys. And I'm like, where's all the women? I remember this used to be a woman's job. And they saw like white men too, like white. And I go to the drive through, it's men or older women. So, of course, bro, a 20-year-old girls, and they, hey, man, I'm 35. This girl's, yeah, bro, I'm 35. I could fly a girl out here. I could take her there. I could show her more resources. So I feel bad for this man. They have it so hard now, bro. Like a 20-year-old, unless you're a stud like a Chad. But I am noticing another thing too. There's a lot of the MILFs that are going for very young guys more than ever. I've never seen anything like that as well. I've seen like moms in the martial arts gyms picking the guys that are 10 years younger than them, right? So it's weird.
Yeah,
Have you noticed?
I've always had sympathy for incels. You
Yeah.
know, because like, dude, like I to be 100% honest, bro, I've never been, you know, like a playboy ever in my life. I've never been a playboy. I literally just like uh a friend invites me to a cookout, right? I'll show up to the cookout, you know, I'm wearing a nice shirt, this and that. I'm socializing. Let's just say my friend has a female cousin. She's there. All right. Her and I start talking, and before you know it, I'm making out with her. Like I didn't spit no game. I like it was just like you're there, you're charming, you know, she finds you attractive. Hey, want to have a drink, want to dance, whatever the you know, and it's you know, the black pill, they do have a point
They
where
do.
you know looks matter,
They do.
you know, and
Sperm
you know,
wars.
I don't go out of my way to talk too much. Like right now, we're having a podcast. Obviously, this is entertainment. Obviously, you know, we have to make it engaging for the listener. But when I'm with people, you know, I try to, you know, let other people talk. Let me, you know, I shut the microphone, you know, I'll shut up. Um, let the girl talk more. And I'm just like, oh, damn, that's crazy. Yeah, yeah. What, girl? And it's just like before you know it, we're making out and we're doing other stuff. That's that black pill stuff where they're
Yeah.
like looks, you know, are like maybe like 80% of the work.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true, man.
You know, so I've always had sympathy for incels. That's why that Joker movie was so big, you know, when it first came out, and Taxi
Yeah.
Driver, and that's why there's all this like Sigma male lore with like Ryan Gosling and like Patrick Bateman and Tyler Durden and all this stuff because you know, so like Fight Club is like the perfect example. You'll have like you know you have the Playboy, the MGTOW, Tyler Durden, and then you have the incel, which was you know the guy who was imagining Tyler Durden. He was the
Right.
incel, and you know he felt so low in you know his personal confidence that he had to literally create like a playboy like in his mind. He had to like create him and try to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I've always made content for incels and I've always included incels. Now, are you right that a lot of them are like totally deranged and very hateful and very resentful?
Well,
Yeah,
I
they
just feel like a
you have
lot
a
of
lot of them
them.
that are.
Um, the one thing I don't agree with them is the fact that they accepted their fate. Like, this is who I am. I'm gonna have to just play video games. There's no effort, bro. Because as unblessed you could be with your facial features, you can still get in shape. And if you have a beard going on, I mean, you still could do some damage. You still can pick up, man. And if you work up the courage and talk to people, you know, you can still, you know, get further. But when you accept your fate and you think that that's it, you settle for it. I mean, I think it's not that I don't have sympathy because I'm not in their shoes, but I think I just hope that they actually do the work, man, because everybody can improve a little bit. I mean, everybody could go out and maybe make more, just increase your value in the sexual marketplace.
So dark, can't see a thing. I hear a song of the broken beat. Give me nickel, give me dime, give me dollar, I'll give